You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
Apologies for the lateness of the show. It is 100%. It is 98% me, 2% Keith Bender. For those who don't know, obviously, I am in the UK, if you can't tell by my accent, and Keith was in London for one night only. And as a fan of the show, I went to go see him, have a few pints, as we do in the UK, and time got ahead of us. So my deepest apologies to Charlie Touche. I hate being late. He knows that, and I am very sorry to all of you who have had to wait half an hour longer than normal. But I'm sweating, but I'm good. Charlie, how are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast, and official affiliates of Fanatics, where you could be a fanatic of your favorite franchise. As Kadeem asked me, how am I again?
Yeah,
and
I know. I'm literally, as I said, I was like, that's robotic of me. That's like the one thing I know I've got to do. I could blame the alcohol, like I'm T-Pain, but I'm not going to. But again, I'm working on a new intro for the show.
You know what's funny, Kadeem? I think it might be my fault because I've mentioned it before several times, maybe for a couple years now, and I noticed that there is no developmental process, kind of like what the topic says with Coach McDaniel. And it's like, is Coach McDaniel the right coach for this Miami Dolphins team moving forward? Is Kadeem the right co-host for this Miami Dolphins podcast moving forward?
Wow.
I'm playing.
Just like that.
I'm playing, man. What up, Keith?
Yeah, shout out to Keith. Said, good evening, gentlemen. Partly my fault for Kadeem being late. Keith, it's always good to meet our fans in person. Like, as I said to you while I was in person, we knew we would get people watching this show, but we didn't realize we would get fans and a family. So great seeing you. Glad to join us. Shout out to Silent Writer, says an interesting topic. So for those who are signed up to our Patreon, you would have seen at the end of our extra point episode, Charlie make a point, which I'm not going to try and explain the point right now because I don't think that's fair. But as you can see by the headline of this episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're watching or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the name of this episode is Mike McDaniel the right head coach to take the Miami Dolphins forward? So Charlie, how did you come up with this opinion, and where does this stem from?
So I want to be clear. I want McDaniel and Greer and the front office to be in place for a long time. More specific, I want them to come back next season, and then we can reevaluate. I believe you got to show results, right? And I believe he has shown results. This front office has shown results. Everyone said McDaniel inherited a playoff team. McDaniel did not inherit a playoff team because Flores did not go to the playoffs. So we can't say, oh, you inherited a playoff team, and the next thing you know, it's the Dolphins never made the playoff, haven't made the playoffs since, so on and so forth. So you can't have your cake and eat it too, although it's your cake. I don't know why you can't eat it. I don't know why they say that. But I do like McDaniel. I do like Greer, and I do like this front office. But it got pretty loud, Kadeem. And last week's win, I don't want to say silence everybody, but at the same time, if we lost last week, it would have been a circus in South Florida, in Miami Gardens, around the facility. There were rumors and reports from multiple sources that if McDaniel failed or this team failed this season, Stephen Ross, owner, was leaning towards Mike Vrabel, bringing in Mike Vrabel in. And, a couple episodes, Kadeem eloquently stated, well, what has Mike Vrabel done? Right. And then was, to his surprise, like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's somebody. At the same time, I think Vrabel does add a element of quote unquote toughness to the team. But here's where I come in at. Charlie Touche's opinion is, bro, all them years where everybody was like, oh, we don't have a top 10 offense. And all of a sudden we have a top 10 offense 3 seasons in a row. Tua was gone, and the scoring offense was 32nd in the league without Tua. And Tua's back, and now it's top 5 in the league with Tua. So 3 seasons in a row, you're going to have a top who knows what offense. Come on now. I don't think that can be replaced. So it is a conversation to be had. And although I think he should return, there's some things that I don't like about Coach that we'll get into later on in the episode.
So shout out to Color Commentary. He's got the salute emoji from the Finns tailgate Color Commentary. So it's funny. I guess a report today from that's the wrong tweet. That's also the wrong chat. Let's get Archer up, Charlie. From James Palmer TV says, contrary to rumors, Mike McDaniel's job as Miami Dolphins head coach is safe going into next season. And also, just to clarify, I kind of knew what Mike Vrabel had done in Tennessee. It didn't surprise me. I think what surprised me is how much fans are behind someone who, once again, if he was in Miami, they would have said, hey, get out of the building. Like, you haven't achieved what we want. So, and again, you should hold your coach, your team, your franchise to the highest possible standards. I'm completely fine with that. But for those who may have missed that episode or aren't quite sure where I'm going with this, so as a head coach of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel in his first season went 9-7, no playoffs. But it is what it is. Your first season, you're embedded in a new culture. Hey, to get a winning record, that is brilliant. Well done. His second season, again, he goes 9-7. He makes the playoffs, goes 2-1 in the playoffs, and loses to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Again, amazing, brilliant. Second season, not only have you won a playoff game, but you've lost to, in 2019, they aren't the best team in the NFL, but they are on that way to being, the best team, the best quarterback. So it is what it is. This to me is where it gets interesting. So in 2020, the Titans go 11-5. They are the 1 seed. And let me double check this. Playoffs, wildcard playoffs. So yes, I'll take it back. The Titans are not the 1 seed. No, hold on. Kadeem, learn to read. I was correct. The Chiefs were the 1 seed this year. The Titans get the 4th seed, but they lose to the Ravens 2013. And that is a home game for the Titans. So the Titans don't get the 1st seed, but they get a home game against the Ravens and they lose. So you're 1 and done. The following season, they go 12-5. And stay with me here. I'm nearly done. You're 12-5. You get the 1 seed. You've got Derrick Henry. He is running wild at this point. The 1 seed. You've got a home game against the Bengals. Got the 4th seed. So you've got a home game against a 4th seed, and you lose. And again, my overall point is, if that is a Miami Dolphins fan base, me personally, I think we're saying to Mike Vrabel, get out of the building. You may have won 2 playoff games, but since then you haven't won one, and you have fumbled the 1 seed. Charlie, am I wrong in believing that as a Miami Dolphins fan base, we would have told Mike Vrabel, if this record in Miami, 4 years, 2 playoff wins, and you fumbled the 1 seed, do we tell him to get out?
You're not wrong. The fan base would have told him that. I wouldn't have, though. I would not have agreed with it. I think there's progress, bro. Like, I think something's wrong with this generation. Bro, we have results. There are results. There's positive results. Do you take a step back from time to time? Yeah, that's unfortunate, right? But at the same time, we are in a place as a franchise where we haven't been for decades, not just a couple years, bro, decades. So in your hypothetical, that's a place we haven't been decades, right? You won playoff games, one seed, all the good stuff. You don't just move on from that. And in the current place we're in, which is reality, is you made the playoffs twice, 2 seasons in a row. You have the top 10 offense 3 seasons in a row. You have an MVP quarterback candidate, quarterback two out of the 3 seasons, arguably this season, but not really. He's not in the conversation, so I won't say he's in the conversation. But at the same time, well, actually, we win these next 4 games, and Tua keep playing like he is. He might be in the conversation 3 years in a row. So, I just don't move on from that. There's a team, I can't remember what year it was, but it was the Chargers. And it was Marty Schottenheimer. Shout out to Marty Schottenheimer. He was the head coach for the Chargers. And there was this Chargers team that was a wrecking ball. Every single year, they had double-digit wins. They were the first, second seed, always going to the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, not just first round and like the Cincinnati Bengals of Marvin Lewis days. Like, he was always – this Chargers team was making – it might have been one of them LaDainian Tomlinson teams, going deep, AFC Championship, and they kept losing. And then their fan base was unhappy. They said, move on from them. And I'm like, wait a minute. So we're going to go get a coach that takes us one step closer and makes that leap to the Super Bowl, as opposed to, you're getting there. You're getting close. There's some unfortunate circumstances. I'm sure there's injuries that played a part in it, right? But at the same time, you're almost there. You're close. And I understand it's close but no cigar. Fat chat, stat chat. We need to find out where that came from. Close but no cigar. I know it's close but no cigar, but at what point do you say, nah, man, this is the hill I'm willing to die on. I'm willing to die on this hill. We're close. And if this doesn't work, then we will reconsider once this window closes. But after that Marty Schottenheimer team, those Marty Schottenheimer teams, Chargers ain't been that close ever again. That was over 2 decades ago. It feels like 2 decades ago. It feels like 2 decades ago. So no, bro, I'm not willing to take several steps back to take potentially a couple steps forward. Like, I'm not willing to do it. We have something good in place. And if Vrabel was our coach, took us to the 1 seed and won a couple playoff games, I wouldn't move on from that either, nor would I move on for McDaniel and Greer. I do believe we're close. I think there's some unfortunate, not just unfortunate circumstances. Something the NFL has never seen in 100 years is a quarterback taking concussions like the way Tua is. It's just the outlier of all situations, and it's happening to us, and I'm not ready to move on. But yeah.
So shout out to Cap for Life. He says, gentlemen. Shout out to IMAX. He says, go time Dolphins. What's good? Kadeem, Charlie, and chat. There's a comment here about Tua's personal life. We'll get to that in bonus time. But Cap says, Tua has 11 touchdowns in 4 games. 9 out of the 11 were expected. Time to prove it against winning teams back to back. I think that's an interesting comment. 9 out of the 11 were expected. I don't quite know what that means in terms of what were the Dolphins expected to score 9 touchdowns in 5 games? 2 back for 5 games, right? He's 2 and
I don't know what that means either. Those were expected touchdowns.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't know what a projection, like, we talking about fantasy football projections. Like, I don't understand what he was expected to score 9 touchdowns in 4 games.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the case of like the teams we face, but that's neither here nor there. He says, don't get lost in the sauce. Win the crowd in December and you will win your freedom. Uno, I'm not falling for the banana. I'm sorry, we need more. And I do think that's an interesting point. Don't get lost in the sauce. Win the crowd in December and you will win your freedom. I think that's the same for McDaniel and Greer. If we win the rest of these games and make the playoffs, let's be totally honest. I reckon, not most. I think a lot of the fans will go, "Hey, okay, we were wrong. This team can win in December, all that kind of stuff." Um, but again, I still think it's the playoffs. I think the Dolphins and this iteration of the Dolphins need to win a playoff game before anyone gets off their back. And Cap has gladly cleared things up. He says four out of those three teams were cupcakes. That's what I mean by expected. Again, I would say in the nicest way possible, even if they are cupcakes, you still gotta like get the ball down the field, something the Dolphins weren't able to do without Tua playing. And what if the Dolphins won all of those games, but Tua didn't throw any touchdowns? What if what if we got what we all wanted was a ground and pound game, and you get to the red zone and it's hey, boom, first and goal, most up the middle touchdown. So you had a situation where Tua's thrown no touchdowns,
Basically, the end of last year.
Yeah. So I understand. So thanks for clearing that up. I understand what you mean, but I'd also think, me personally, the one thing I won't take for granted is beating cupcake teams, because not every team in the NFL is able to do that. Some teams lose the dumbest games. It makes no sense. And I mentioned this on the last episode. Even some of our worst Dolphin teams would find a way to beat the best Patriots teams just because we can. I think we have, and again, going back to Mike McDaniel, Mike Rabel thing, I think we as a fan base have gotten used to McDaniel and Tua winning cupcake games. The fact that Tua hasn't lost to the Patriots or the Paper Planes, it's now just okay. But what, can you beat the bigger teams? But as I've said before, they're still division rivals. These teams are still getting up to play the Dolphins, and the fact that Tua and McDaniel as a pair are undefeated. McDaniel has lost to, I believe, both teams without Tua, but I feel like we are taking for granted some of these easy wins, because once they go, I personally believe we'll look back and go, remember the time when the Patriots and the Paper Planes couldn't beat us? So, but yeah, Charlie, I've rambled on for long enough.
I think this is the perfect time for a segue, because we were talking about Tua having whatever he just said, 11 touchdowns, nine were expected passing touchdowns. Here's the thing. I don't know that they were expected. And this is why I had this is what really brought up this conversation, Kadeem. I have alluded to saying like, hey, Tua is the reason for our success. It's not McDaniel. And once upon a time, that the percentage of that was, to quantify it, I thought McDaniel was 70% the reason why the Dolphins are as good as we are, or were as good as we were in the past couple years. I 100% appreciate McDaniel for tapping in to Tua's cranium, if I could use these words, around our quarterback, and him finding himself to really be like, oh yeah, I forgot I was him. You know what I'm saying? With the number one as the eye. You feel me? Like, yo, yeah, Tua is Tua. And I believe McDaniel gets all the credit for that. Like, I don't even think Tua gets any credit. I think he lost himself, and McDaniel broke him in like, nah, bro, you that dude. And then Tua's like, oh yeah, you're right, I am that dude. That being said, as the years have gone by, shout out to LB, Tua's growth in the past 3 seasons is so much further than McDaniel's growth in the past 3 seasons. Like, I feel like we got the same McDaniel from season 1. We do not have the same Tua from season 1. Say that again.
I disagree, but I'll.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And I want to be clear. It's not that he didn't like not grow at all. And so I guess I can't say not the same, but he's not taking the steps that Tua has in the past 3 seasons. For example, last year I thought, oh, we're running the ball because McDaniel don't trust Tua. Mostert has 18 rushing touchdowns, and we're inside the 10, and the offense doesn't look the same. So we run the ball in. And I thought that was a Tua thing. Like, he don't trust Tua. Now, in hindsight, including this season, I'm like, Nah, bro. McDaniel's the issue, bro. McDaniel can't call up the plays right. You know what I'm saying? He's we can't get inside the 5. Like we see the short yardage problems, and all of a sudden, Tua don't have no problems throwing touchdowns inside the 10-yard line. So I believe Tua is the reason for our success, not McDaniel. I want to be clear. I don't think Tua has this success without McDaniel, but at the same time, now that he has been tapped into, I think he can move on with a different coach. I'm not saying that I want to, but I do believe, and here's where the rubber hits the road. I think McDaniel and the coaching staff have a developmental problem. I don't think we develop players well under the coaching staff of Mike McDaniel.
So, and again, I guess me being, you further clarified that obviously McDaniel has shown growth as a head coach. Probably not as much as you would like. I think the past few weeks, the addition of a run game, I think the last 2 games that has kind of gone away, but I also think the Dolphins have struggled to run, and McDaniel, this is where a lot of the fan base and us disagree. I still think that Green Bay game where we got away from the run is more because you're down 14 and you can't move the ball at all, so you kind of have to throw the ball more. And then again, last week, the Dolphins found success more in the past game. I feel like H had like 2.3 yards per carry. I think that has a lot to do with Austin Jackson, friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson missing, and just a weak guard play. But I think what I will say is both McDaniel and Tua are stubborn in certain situations, and I think that both helps them, and it both, why they haven't shown the growth that I guess we would like. Prime example is that Patriots game where the Dolphins are winning. Skyler's come out. Skyler's come in, had to come back out. And there's a play where Tua scrambles left and the play is dead. And instead of throwing the ball away, he takes an unnecessary tackle. And I think even in our group chat, we're like, yo, Tua, what you doing? Another prime example, Tua, I still believe in certain situations, puts himself in harm even after these concussions. So I can understand if you're looking at McDaniel, the, I guess, incorrect play calls, the still getting plays called late into the huddle, all that kind of stuff. The one thing I will say about the developmental of quarterbacks, and we started this conversation on Patreon, is in the nicest possible way, everyone behind Tua has been trash. Mike White was trash in New York. He was trash in Miami. Skylar Thompson has had an unexpected okay rookie season and has been trash since. Teddy Bridgewater, I guess, regressed back to the mean, but I think we all had higher hopes for Teddy Bridgewater. And my overall point is, and again, it's one of those sayings, is it what? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach him to drink. That's the saying, right?
You can't force him to drink.
You can't force him to drink. And I think if you go back and watch these games without Tua and the struggles the Dolphins have, it's like they can't even line up correctly without Tua. And you're still watching people get wide open. Mike McDaniel will call the play. And the play, if Tua is in, the ball's getting out quickly, and because the guys are still open. Tyler Huntley isn't throwing the ball because his instinct is to not throw, basically.
I see what you did there. You try to rabbit me, bro.
I'm not trying to be.
You knew where I was going, so you try to beat me to the punch, right?
How can I know where you're going?
Because we went through this on Patreon, right? Like you already knew. You see my plays. So listen. You think you slick? How about this?
Actually, and so very, very quickly, the reason I said what I said, because I had this conversation with 5 Yard Lee earlier. So I'm basically repeating what me and 5 Yard Lee said. So
cool, but I planted the seed for you to have that conversation with 5 Yard Lee with these bullet points. How about this? This is my point. I heard what you said, but I'll raise you here. Teddy Bridgewater was arguably the best backup quarterback at the time at the time, the best backup quarterback on the market, and we brought him in. Jacoby Brissett was Flores. Mike White had the paper planes relevant with Robbie Chosen in New York. Skylar Thompson's first season, everybody was like, maybe there's something there. Some other fan base was like, start him over Tua. Look what Mike White did against the Buffalo Bills. Who else we got? Tyler Huntley is the great value brand of Lamar Jackson. The Ravens stall contract talks because they have a Tyler Huntley and let Lamar Jackson sit out for like 4 games of a season when they probably didn't have to because Tyler Huntley was playing so well. All of these quarterbacks come to Miami. What happens? First of all, let's go to Skylar Thompson first. The first season of Skylar Thompson was the best season, and we haven't seen that version of Skylar Thompson ever since. So when I say the coaches have a problem developing players, that is what I'm talking about. Like, yo, how do you regress instead of progress? And this was your first year in the league. So something is telling there, right? All right. So Tyler Huntley, yeah, I understand his stock was on the downtrend already. He was on the practice squad of the Browns. Cool. You try to be rapping me. But how about this? He's a quarterback that uses his legs. Coach ain't schemed nothing up for him to use his legs. Nothing. Like Anthony Richardson took a hiatus for a few games, came back, and Shane Steichen knew how to use them. That's what I need to see in Coach McDaniel. Like, look, bro, sorry, this is on me. I was using you the wrong way. That'll never happen again. And now we can see my quarterback sweeps with Tyler Huntley. Not Mike White. Where else we going? Who else we got?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater was not that good as a Miami Dolphin, but he was good outside of the Miami Dolphins. Like, I understand there is a conversation to be had. Like, hey, well, where were these players at the time? And I think I'm missing a quarterback, if I'm being real with you, because I feel like we had another quarterback somewhere that didn't perform as well as we thought he could have, especially if Mike McDaniel is this quarterback whisperer guru dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yes, we have Tua, but my thing is Tua was already that deal. McDaniel just spoke life into him. So I don't think McDaniel gets credit for developing Tua. I think McDaniel gets credit for tapping in and bringing it out of him. Like, yeah, all right, you were that dude. You were that dude before McDaniel. You're going to be that dude after McDaniel. But everybody else, no one else developed. No one else got better. Everyone said, oh, it's the system. It's the system. Any quarterback can play in the system. And it turns out no quarterback can play in the system after Tua. Like, so if it is the system and McDaniel's this quarterback whisperer dude and makes it quarterback friendly, how come no quarterback has had any success? Not all of the success, but any success. So, yes, I think coach has a developmental problem. And this is the hill I'm willing to die on. I believe Tua is the reason McDaniel is successful and his team is successful, not the other way around.
So, fact checking, as you think we're missing a quarterback. So, McDaniel's first season, the quarterbacks are Teddy Bridgewater, Tua, and Skylar Thompson. We haven't missed anyone there. The second season, your quarterbacks are Tua, Skylar Thompson, and Mike White. And then we are where we are. What I will say about Tyler Huntley, which is interesting, is, and again, this is pure. I am looking at stats right now. I am not looking at actual gameplay footage. Right, we're clear on that. Tyler Huntley in Baltimore, and do you want games played or game starts or combined?
I don't know. This is your point you're trying to make. This is not mine.
Okay, so Tyler Huntley in 2021 starts 4 games. Yep.
Okay.
He goes 1-3 for 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and then rushing has 2 touchdowns, 4 fumbles, 3 lost. To me, that's not a good season, but okay, cool, fair enough. 2022, he starts 4 games again. He goes 2-2 for 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and then rushing 1 touchdown, 3 fumbles, but none lost. In 2023, he goes 0-1 for 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, no rushing touchdowns. In the nicest way possible, those are stats of an awful backup quarterback. And then he gets to Miami and goes 1-2, which for 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 fumble, 1 loss. That sounds to me like Tyler Huntley has performed how he has his entire NFL career as a backup. And also, that's why Tyler Huntley, when you picked him up, was on the practice squad, because even the Ravens, which is the best system for him, were like, this dude ain't it. And he came to Miami, and Miami were like, this dude ain't it. And he managed to arrive, get injured, and then upon his return, beat out Skylar Thompson, who we reckon is probably the worst quarterback in the league. So, again, I'm not watching games, I'm looking at stats. I genuinely couldn't tell you which season Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl, because these are trash buns stats.
All valid. Kind of proves my point about Skylar Thompson, though. Not progressing. Well, how? Riddle me this, Mr. Simmons. How come Skylar Thompson isn't progressing? How come he's going like backwards since we got him?
If I want to prove myself right, it's because you drafted him in the 7th round, and in that first season, no one knew what you was going to get, and even in that first season, he exceeded expectations because the expectations were 0. And since then, he's performed as well as most 7th round quarterbacks have, not named Brock Purdy.
Hold up. So whose fault is that? Why isn't the coach in the NFL that develops, whose job is develop players, why hasn't Skylar Thompson taken at least a step forward? Like not just like
that is on the coach.
Not a step forward, bro. Like that should be the starting point. That should be ground zero, and we should be go, all right, you're not progressing as fast as I need you to, not regressing. So I'm gonna get back to you, Tyler Huntley, because I don't want to make it look like you jabbed me up and I tapped out. At the same time, Tyler Huntley did make the Pro Bowl, and there is an eye test to be had. And I understand all the stats you just read. Cool, I get it. But at the same time, when I'm watching Tyler Huntley play for the Ravens, I'm like, oh, this dude can be something in the NFL. So, dude makes the playoffs. Makes the Pro Bowl, and somehow Kadeem hits me with a couple stats that says he shouldn't have made a Pro Bowl. I get it. Pro Bowl could be finicky. You know, a lot of reserve players and stuff like that. At the same time, if there's an eye test to be said, which we can't weigh into this conversation because Kadeem's just doing the stat check, fact check, it's like the real issue is all the quarterbacks except Tua that have come to the Dolphins have a red arrow pointing down when they leave the Dolphins. Like not one quarterback in 3 seasons was like, you know what? I'm glad Jaren Hall didn't come to the Dolphins, because that would have made me look real bad because McDaniel wouldn't have been able to develop him. And it would have been like, oh, Jaren Hall's a bust. And I'm like, yo, maybe there's a developmental problem in Miami, which I think there is. So all of this McDaniel's a genius stuff, which he's a really dope, like I don't want to say play caller, but he schemes up some pretty dope plays. I'm like, dog, he is an innovator when it comes to offensive-minded innovator for sure. And I want to keep him out. This is not a let's get rid of everybody. This is not that. But at the same time, it's like, nah, bro, we can't have this. And I do believe Tua is responsible for all of the success of the Dolphins. Like this, your Stephen A. Smiths of the world. Oh, all Tua has to do is throw it 2 yards, and Tyreek will take it to the house. Like as if Patrick Mahomes didn't have that stat. Patrick Mahomes threw the most passes at or behind the line of scrimmage in the NFL when he had Tyreek Hill. Tua is nowhere near that. Nowhere near it. But for some reason, everyone has this misconception that that's what Tua is. And we lose Tua, we lose a whole team. We lose a whole season. We get Tua back, I'll be talking again.
I think so. I asked this question to 5 Yard Lee. I will ask a question to you. And this isn't a trick question. And generally, I will understand if you can't answer it right now. Mike McDaniel can't develop quarterbacks. Cool, fair enough. And we're not going to give him credit for Tua, although we will say he breathed life into Tua.
Okay.
Name me a head coach who can develop quarterbacks, not one quarterback, who can develop quarterbacks.
A head coach, like I think that's unfair. I think it should be like an offensive. I think it should be like an offensive coordinator, head coach. Yeah, because some head coaches are defensive minded.
Okay, but then so but an offensive minded head coach.
I would say Andy Reid. That's one of them.
Cool.
You said name me one. I named you one. What's up?
And Andy Reid in the nicest Alex Smith was a good, solid NFL starter, and Patrick Mahomes is a genuine freak.
But Chad Henne came in and was a deal. Chad Henne won games for them boys when Mahomes was out.
I don't know, so I will fact check this as well. How many games did Chad Henne win?
Chad Henne was a Miami Dolphin, by the way, that we had to get up out of here, and then goes to the Chiefs, and all of a sudden he's saving the Chiefs season when Mahomes was out.
So again, looking at Chad Henne's stats right now.
Go ahead.
Chad Henne gets to Kansas in 2018. He plays 1 game, 2 completions, 3 attempts. 2019 doesn't play a game. 2020 plays 3 games, starts 1, goes 0-1. 2021 plays 4 games, doesn't start any, and in 2022 plays 3 and doesn't start any. So Chad Henne's record as a starter in Kansas is 0-1. So
what's he look like? What's he look like?
No. You said Chad Henne wins games. Chad Henne is 0-1 in Kansas.
So when Patrick Mahomes went out, and I don't know what game it was. I'm not a Chiefs fan. If I was a Chiefs fan, I probably have this lined up for you. There's a game, Patrick Mahomes got injured. Chad Henne comes in, keeps them boys alive, wins, has a play where, this is a pretty important play of the game. And I think it was a pass he completed. It wasn't no run. It was a couple passes that he can't fresh off the bench. Chad Henne fresh off the bench. As a matter of fact, I was still I won't say that. But yeah, Chad Henne, I believe Andy Reid developed Chad Henne to be better than what he was in the Miami Dolphins when he was a Miami Dolphin.
And that's fair.
And
let me finish.
And I think Carson Wentz is a dude too. I would take Carson Wentz right now.
So
he's at the Chiefs. He's at the Chiefs, and if we see Carson Wentz, I think the Chiefs still. All right, let me not say that, but I think Carson Wentz is better than the Carson Wentz of when he was with the Colts.
Chad Henne's record as a Dolphin, in terms of games started, in 2009, 7-6. And in 2010, 6-8. In 2011, 0-4. In 2012, 1-5. No, 0-4. So in the 3 seasons as an NFL's Miami Dolphin starter, 7-6, 6-8, 0-4. And yet in Kansas in these 4 years, he went 0. The only game he started, he lost.
But I cannot wait to find this game. I cannot wait to find it because you're going to make me do this. I cannot wait to find it. Hold on. I can't wait to find a game where everybody's okay, Chad Henne came in and saved the Chiefs. I can't wait till I find it. Now I have to look it up now. Let's see if I can find it on air.
What's interesting as well, so again, I'm only looking at stats. Chad Henne has only thrown 2 touchdowns for the Kansas City Chiefs, and that was in the season where he started and lost his only game.
Sean McVay, by the way, that's another one. How about that? We talking about coaches that develop quarterbacks. How about Sean McVay? Look what Baker Mayfield came in, didn't know have a playbook for 4 days, came in and put up 28 points in his first game. Chad, you thought we could do that with Tyler Huntley? It would have been nice. It would have been nice if McDaniel could have took Tyler Huntley on 2 weeks. McVay took Baker Mayfield on 2 days. I know. Hey Baker, I know you only been here for a couple days, but I'm gonna make it real friendly for you when you come into this game. Go ahead.
You're right. When was Baker Mayfield drafted?
What year is it? 2024.
Sorry. Not year. What position was Baker Mayfield? What round was Baker Mayfield drafted?
First.
Cool. And when was Skylar Thompson drafted?
7.
Cool. So Sean, and again, I'm in no way saying Sean McVay can't develop quarterbacks. But Sean McVay took a former first round pick.
What round was Josh Rosen drafted?
First round.
So why he didn't do anything in Miami?
Because this is the same regime that couldn't do anything with Tua.
So I'm just saying, like, you trying to make it a point, like, yo, just because you drafted in the first round means you had a propensity to do what Baker Mayfield did.
No offense. Josh Rosen is like the worst point you can make because
it's not though, because you went to a first rounder and a 7th rounder and said, oh, that's the reason why Baker was able to do it. So I'm like, well, all first rounders can't do it.
Oh no, of course, 100%. I'm saying, and again, Sean McVay is a good example. I
also throw in Kyle Shanahan too. It's funny because these boys come from the same system too. Matter of fact, Zach Taylor, like, yo, didn't Joe Burrow go down and their backup I think the backup's quarterback name in Cincinnati is JB2. Like, I think there's like 2 JB quarterbacks in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow went down and Zach Taylor still won games with the backup.
So let's have a look at Joe Burrow.
It's like the same system. The boys in the same system can do it, except McDaniel. This is looking real bad for you right now.
And actually, Carl Shanahan. Hold on. Shanahan is an interesting point because without Brock Purdy, he does nothing in the nicest way possible.
But prior to Brock Purdy, they were like Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. That they were still like, oh, look at every quarterback that Shanahan touches is looking pretty all right.
And Brock Purdy is an interesting case as well because he had a first-round pick in Trey Lance, busted out so badly it's beyond a joke.
Yeah.
And Brock Purdy is like the exception to the rule. The 7th round pick.
That goes back to your what round was he picked in, Kadeem? Because this is your
but like I said, that's the exception to the rule. How many quarterbacks have been taken in the 7th round who have gone on to achieve absolutely nothing? Absolutely nothing. And if you redraft that draft where Brock Purdy and Skylar Thompson was, Zach Taylor was the Dolphins quarterback coach when he was with Saban. That is true. I think if everyone looks back at it and go, Brock Purdy probably should have been a first round pick, and Skylar Thompson probably should have been undrafted and probably should have never got a chance. Let me have a look at the season and the backup quarterback. So.
Bro, I something in me told me that Chad Henne came in a playoff game, bro, and it was a playoff game. I didn't want to sound crazy, but in 2021, Chad Henne came into the game in relief of Patrick Mahomes in the 3rd quarter after Mahomes left the game with a concussion.
2021, right?
Yeah.
2021 KC season, postseason. Let's have a look. I've got the Pittsburgh. Do you know exactly what game it was? Or do you need me to?
It just say January 17, 2021 divisional playoff game. We could probably pull up the 2021 playoffs and then find out who.
I'm looking at the 2001. I'm looking at Wikipedia.
2021. 2021.
Yeah. 2021 Wikipedia page has the Chiefs playing the Steelers on the 16th of January.
Okay. Oh yeah. So I mean, it says 16. It says 17 there. I guess it could have been that.
Let me
I
double.
I guess it is that. What was the score of that game?
It's no. So Chad Henne doesn't play this game. You've got Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback. So I would then go to the following, maybe it's 20. It could be the 2020 season, but because the game was played in 2021.
Yeah.
Postseason, January 17th, they play the Cleveland Browns.
All right. Who won?
Oh yeah, the Chiefs did.
Oh, Chiefs won.
The game finished.
Mahomes left in the 3rd quarter. Chiefs still won.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. So Chad Henne came in.
Yeah.
Went 6 for 8 for 66 yards and an an interception.
Okay. Who won the game though, Kadeem?
Oh no, the Chiefs did. And it
Hey,
was
6 for 8 is pretty good though. No,
it was a. I think if he leaves the game, it must be the fourth Kareem Hunt 3-yard touchdown.
so you're telling me your MVP, surefire Hall of Famer, leaves a playoff game in the third quarter, and the backup comes in, goes 6 for 8, and they still win. Is that what happened?
Yep.
You think
That's
the
what
Dolphins
happened.
could do that with any other quarterbacks we had?
Genuinely, has there been a game in which
I just need to know if you think the Dolphins could do it with any other quarterbacks we had.
I believe so? Yes.
I think you.
No. So
You
no, I'm not. No.
acting, bro.
No. Hold on. When Tua has left games like mid games, the Dolphins have been losing quite badly. Let's be honest. Has they not?
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah. So all Chad Henne had to do was not mess up.
I don't think.
And-
I think he had to come back in that game, bro. I think he, bro. I remember, I remember like, oh yeah, the Chiefs are gonna lose. Hold on. Listen. I remember like, yo, the Chiefs are gonna lose this. Baker Mayfield. That was a Baker Mayfield Browns, and I'm like, dang, Cleveland's gonna knock these boys off. And Chad Henne did not blow it. I remember him not blowing it. Like, and he looked good while he did not blow it. So all I'm saying is Andy Reid has clearly, we're comparing Andy Reid to Mike McDaniel now, and I get that. But at the same time, it was your question. It was, give me a coach, and I gave you a coach. It just so happened to be Hall of Famer Andy Reid. And if we want to pivot from Andy Reid, we got to get up out of here soon. If we want to pivot from Andy Reid to Kyle Shanahan to Sean McVay and Zach Taylor, we can make a part 2 of this at the beginning of the next episode and continue this conversation.
So very quickly, this is the same Zach Taylor who has Joe Burrow fully healthy and is struggling to win games right now. I'll say that, but also
we're talking about developmental of players. The development of players is what we're talking about. We're not talking about winning with starting quarterbacks.
And also, so this Browns Chiefs game, the first quarter, the Chiefs are winning 6-3. The second quarter, the Chiefs got another 13 points, and Cleveland don't score at all. So that's what 19-3. If my math is correct.
All right.
Cleveland win the third quarter 7-3. So that's, you're now looking at 10-22. Yeah.
All right.
And the Chiefs don't score again.
What did the Browns score?
The Browns scored in the fourth quarter, yeah.
What was the score?
It finished 22-17.
Oh, so it's close enough for Henne to blow it though.
Yeah, but to me,
he didn't blow it. He didn't blow it.
No, he didn't blow it. But
and then there's an eye test. You give me numbers, but there's an eye test to this too. That I can't bring up. Oh, look at what Chad Henne's doing right now.
That's totally true, and I understand that. All I'm saying, he didn't blow it. He came into the game with a lead. Me personally,
yeah.
If outside of Skylar Thompson doing what Skylar Thompson did,
exactly. That's what I know you were gonna say that. So Skylar Thompson came into the league. Skylar Thompson came into the game like 2 weeks ago with a lead, and we had to put Tua back in. How's that for development?
Do you remember when we played the Broncos and the Dolphins had a lead, and Mike White came in and first throw found Chosen and Robbie Chosen for a touchdown?
Yeah, we're up like 50 points, literally.
Yeah,
maybe even like 60.
But I'm saying when Tua came out the game,
I think Mike White threw a pick that game too.
I can double check that.
Hey, we can't do this right now. We got to move. Listen, hey, look. We could pick this conversation up. I don't know when or where or how, but we will pick it up eventually. Listen, y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
That was real good, Kadeem. I enjoy this. I enjoy going back and forth with you, bro.
Very, very quickly, and I'm in no way taking the mick here. So you mentioned Sean McVay and Baker Mayfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield's record
No. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sean McVay and Baker Mayfield played 5 games but started 4. Baker Mayfield's record in those 4 games was 1-3. I find that hilarious. And no, he won the game.
But they did win that first game on like 4 days' notice. Yes.
Yeah, I believe they did.
Okay. I mean, if you're gonna bring it up, you gotta say the whole thing. Like I don't believe McDaniel is capable of doing that.
Baker Mayfield had the exact same record as Tyler Huntley did.
Tyler Huntley had 2 weeks to prepare.
Yeah.
Did he win that his first game out?
No, but I also said Tyler Huntley was. No, hold on. But I also said Tyler Huntley. No, you're right. But I said Tyler Huntley was trash, and the Dolphins weren't going to win 3 games. You said Tyler Huntley would win the Dolphins 3 games.
I did.
And
I had too much trust in the coaching staff, and that's why we're having this conversation.
I had trust in the coaching staff as well, but I also knew Tyler Huntley was trash. And if we're being brutally honest, you could probably look at those games and go, "Hey, Raheem Mostert."
Hold on. I didn't say he was not trash.
No.
I still don't say Tyler Huntley is trash, but I did not say he wasn't trash. That being said, I still thought he was capable of winning games with this team and with this coach. Jake Browning is the quarterback I'm talking about. You want to stat check Jake Browning while we're here?
Jake Browning, yep. So Jake Browning.
Burrow went down last 2 years ago, last year, I think.
So Jake Browning, 2023.
Yeah.
Last year, Jake Browning went 4-3 as the
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Cool. 4-3.
And Jake Browning also was in that system for 2 years and had 2 years in Minnesota. So well done to the Bengals for taking a 5th-year quarterback who's been in the system for 2 years.
Hey, development. You got to develop players. You got to develop people.
No, you are right. Also, let me kind. I always find it. Jake Browning came in week 11, so I need week 12 for the Bengals that season. Also, he came in when Burrow got hurt and lost that game, just for the record. But week 12, Jake Browning came in and beat a trash Jaguars team, a trash Colts team, also beat the Jaguars and the Vikings. So he beat the Jags in overtime, beat the Colts, beat the Vikings in overtime, lost to the Steelers, lost to the Chiefs, and then beat the Browns. And again, my genuine issue with Mike McDaniel, which is our whole issue with Mike McDaniel, I think we both agree with this, is once Tua goes out the game, you can't even beat trash teams, which is a major issue. But as I also said, that's a Dolphins issue since Tua made his debut, because the Dolphins have only won 2 games since Tua lost, and both those games came on Mike McDaniel.
Flores has a problem developing players as well. That doesn't mean it's the Dolphins. It means, this coach has a problem developing players. That coach has a problem developing players. It does not discount McDaniel for not being able to develop players. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he could develop players. And I still don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, knowing that he doesn't develop players, knowing that he has a problem calling timeouts, knowing that he can't get the play out on time. I still don't think we should move on from him. I just think he has to get better in these areas. I think that's what you do. You develop yourself as well. So that's just where I'm at. This is where I landed.
I agree, and I know we're running short on time. My overall point with these quarterbacks and coach issue, or which coaches can develop quarterbacks, was more a case of, if you're a good coach and you have a good quarterback, you don't develop multiple quarterbacks, because you tend to have one quarterback throughout, and then that guy goes, and for the most part, teams kind of struggle. In my opinion.
Disagree. Yeah, that's fine.
That's
fine. Your opinion. I say I disagree, because I think whatever you're cooking up, you should be able to pass down to everyone else that's behind him and behind that person, and then you have whatever system you're in, and you could be like, "Yo, look, this is how we're gonna do it." It's almost like you laid a foundation. All you got to do is walk through it, and then you're not going to be as good as the one, but you should still look like you've been training behind the one. And that's what I think happened. And that's what happened in Green Bay for years behind Brett Favre. Every quarterback let me not say every, but a lot of them quarterbacks, shout out to Ty Detmer, you know what I'm saying? Like all of them quarterbacks somehow end up starting games for other teams because everybody wants to back up the Brett Favre because Green Bay knows how to develop backups and quarterbacks and players. But hey, my alarm's about to go off for work. Then you had something else that you wanted to do for a bonus time?
Yeah, one, I thought we called it overtime now, but two, listen, it was a great episode. We got some comments in the chat, so shout out to all the comments. Apologies we haven't got to them, but the other thing we haven't got to is a fantasy game day app. Listen, they rock with us, we rock with them. Use promo code GTDFF for free second entry with daily fantasy sports in the UK. It is UK only, so we apologize for that. But if you're in the UK and you want to play daily fantasy sports, use promo code GTDFF for free second entry. Again, that's GTDFF with free second entry. If that is it, then we shall see you on Friday, I believe, for the Texans preview. Oh, there was another thing about Tua getting his heart broken into, but we will delve into that another day. So, did you not know this?
Bro, I didn't know it, but that's crazy how you just throw that out at the end of the episode. For anyone else who did not know, it's like, wait, Tua got his house broken into, and then we got to make a lose. They buy with his go time. Like,
apologies. No, Cap mentioned it at the very start of the show, and we said we'll do it in bonus time, but we didn't. Very brief. But basically, Tua's car got broken into while his family was at home. And he said, this ain't happening again. So he's now got armed security. And he said this in his press conference today and basically said, my security are armed. So if you want to try me, I dare you to. That's basically the thing. But listen, I don't know if you're listening to this.
Hold on. So I know where Tua lives and I know the neighborhood. I also know there's other players that live in this neighborhood. I also know some people who are not professional athletes that live in this neighborhood. This was not a isolated incident. It's the neighborhood is a targeted neighborhood because there are wealthy people who live there, and that's where opportunity knocks for people who want to break into cars. So it's happened a bunch of times before, actually, and there is a chance that someone didn't even know that was Tua's crib. Like, or his cars, so maybe would have preferred that stayed under the radar if I was Tua's people, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, this happens a lot over there, actually.
And that's what people said. But yeah, Tua's now got security. Like he said, basically, I dare to try. I've got security. I've got armed security now. But apologies, we didn't get to that sooner, and apologies, we left it so late. But as I said to Keith in the pub, once me and Charlie get rolling on the discussion, all bets are off. We could have 5 topics to get to, but we are only doing that one topic. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And until the next time, we shall see you soon. Peace.